Hi everybody, it's Tasso, and today we're going to tackle a very important topic. The topic of how to be more challenging, the topic of how to speak up more. And I'm going to tackle this from a perspective of the work environment, because I believe this is where people struggle most with. People struggle with this, their bosses struggle with this because their teams don't speak up, and so projects don't move forward, and mistakes are made along the way. Injustice happens when people don't speak up. So what can you do? Well, before we go into the details of what you can do, maybe let's have a look at what the reasons are why people don't speak up. What are the main reasons why this does not happen? And I came up with 4 that I would like to share with you. Number 1 reason that I could think of why people don't speak up is because they feel what they have to say is not good enough. That what they have to say is not ready to share, is not thought through. So it's just not there yet to be shared with the world. They think more of the consequences, like what they could lose, their credibility or the respect of the boss or of their peers, rather than thinking about what can the team gain if I actually speak up. I have tackled this before in a blog when I talked about perfectionism, because perfectionism is rooted in the same things. You don't feel what you have to share is good enough. But you need to think about the fact that actually you are not the one that can judge the impact of your idea on the world. The only thing that you are responsible for is that you are passionate and convinced about what you want to say. So you don't talk just for the sake of talking, but you need to be convinced. You need to be absolutely behind what you want to say, and this is why you should be speaking up. Now, if you find yourself in the position that you actually find your idea is not good enough or it's a crazy idea, I wanted to share with you a couple of, let's say, funny stories for you to be more comfortable to actually share an idea and let the team do the rest. Here's the things. Number 1, Facebook. Take a look at Facebook. Facebook came into a world that already had social networks. And so they said, let's make yet another social network. And you know what? We're going to limit it to Harvard students, to these anti-social Ivy Leaguers. And you know what? People are going to follow because Harvard students are so cool. Or take Amazon. Amazon says, we're going to sell books online. And you know what? We're going to ask people to pay with their credit cards at an era where people were afraid to use their credit cards online. And people will do this out of convenience, even if they have to wait for a week to get a book. Instead, they could go to the bookstore and get the book right away and save even some shipping costs, but no. And where is Amazon now? Or look at Spotify. Imagine somebody standing up in a meeting and saying, let's not make people only pay for something that they own. Let's make them pay to rent music. And you know what? When they stop paying at some point of time, they don't have anything anymore. Everything they were able to access is lost. Now, with these examples, I wanted to show to you that there is no such thing as a crazy idea. I want to share with you something else from the movie space. This is something so crazy that I did not even believe it, and I had to Google it. So imagine somebody stands up in a meeting and says, I think we should make a movie with sharks in tornadoes. So that tornadoes, pick up sharks from the sea, they reach the cities, and they can eat up people. And the movie is called Sharknado. Of course, how else would the movie be called? And imagine there is Sharknado 1, Sharknado 2, Sharknado 3, and Sharknado 4. So you cannot possibly judge how good your idea will be. The only thing, as I said in the beginning, is you need to be passionate and convinced about what you want to say. Let the team do the rest. So that was the reason number 1. Reason number 2 is more cultural and environmental, is when people think that this is not the way things are done here, or when they think, I have to respect my boss, the boss knows better, or when they think this is not just who I am. But let me challenge you here. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? Ask yourself, why are you where you are, and why do you do what you do? Why did you take the job in the first place? And I'll also ask yourself, why did the company hire you? They hired you to add value, not to just fly under the radar and keep silent. Reason number 3. Reason number 3 is when people say, you know what, I might be alone with this idea. But again, ask yourself, what if not? What if there's many other people who think alike? What if the only thing it takes in order to create the revolution, to create a snowball effect and make things better is just a catalyst? And why can you not be that catalyst? And the reason number 4 that I could come up with, a reason why people don't speak up, is because people feel, this is going to show up along the process. People will find out anyway. I don't need to mention this. I don't need to speak up in this regard. But you know what? What if not? Imagine the harm that you can do if you don't speak up when you, for instance, realize a mistake. And don't ever forget that in meetings and in the corporate environment, silence is always taken as approval. So if you don't say anything, it is like if you agree to this. Now, I have mentioned many, many times that I believe the single most important thing that can make you stand out, that can make you move forward and boost your career in any organization is to take initiative. You know, if you take initiative, if you contribute, you will increase your visibility, and this is something that will give you a massive success. I really believe it. But even if you get these benefits out of speaking up, they are not the main reason for you to speak up. This is just a bonus that will come along when you do the right thing. This is what happens everywhere in life. When you do the right thing, the success and the money will follow. That's not the right reason. The only reason and the main reason why you should speak up, why you should contribute to the discussion, and why you should give your thought a voice is because you care. There is no better way for you to demonstrate to your peers and to your bosses that you actually care about what's being discussed and what's being said. That you are a contributor and not just a spectator. If you don't speak up, it's like you would say, I don't really care in which direction this goes. And this would be really sad. I mean, imagine what this says about how you value yourself and how you value your insight and your intellect. Now, having said all this, having gone through the reasons why people don't speak up and having given you also the benefit why you should speak up, now let's have a look at what you can do and how you can do it. Of course, there's always both sides of the story. Both the people in the organization and the organization need to take both steps. Of course, the organization needs to remove barriers. They need to create an environment of trust, an environment where people don't fear the consequences and where they encourage contribution and they reward really ideas. People have to come together and to actually define the rules and the agreements together. And I'm not talking here about generic things and formal processes like suggestion boxes. It's really about a cultural shift. This has to happen from the organization's perspective. But of course, if you wait for the organization to do this, you can as well wait for world peace. So what you can do is take the initiative and do what you can do. You have to start with the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. So here's what you can do in order to become better at speaking up and challenging. Number one is package it as your view, not as a fact. When you want to speak up and say something, say this is how it makes you feel or how you understood it. Don't state it as a fact. People attack very easily when they are attacked on the facts. So make it as it is your view and it is your perspective, how you see things. How can anybody possibly disagree if you say this is how you got it? Number two, focus on the positive. People are very vulnerable if they present something, if they're open with something. So, of course, as you would not want it to happen with you, don't go out there and say, no, that's crap, I don't think we should do it this way. Of course, focus on the good things. Say things like, I think that's a great idea. And if we would do this instead or this on top, this is what I believe we can achieve. So focus on the positive and build on the positive. I think this is going to make the whole team feel valued, the person who presented the idea feel valued. And this is also something that you can take on for yourself. Okay? So number one, as I said, package it as your view. Number two is focus on the positive. Number three is don't say something, ask something. You know, and be more inspiring. Ask a question to trigger thoughts of the team. Don't necessarily try to put your idea forward. Ask things or say things like, what if we did this? How about the impact if we would do this? So really ask this and frame it as a question, because this will make you not attackable and this will open up the minds of the people in the room to make things better. Now this leads me to the number 4, which is alongside the questions. Be very careful on your questions because people very often use why. So why in the sense of, why are we not doing this? Why have you done this? And you know, although why have we not tried this is sometimes very good and positive, it can be perceived as judgmental. It can be perceived, it can force the other person to need to justify themselves. You know, if you ask somebody, why did you not do this? You might think it from the perspective of, here's something else you could think of, but this person will feel, oh my God, they identified the flaw, they identified the thing that I did not look at. So these are the things that you can do. I hope that this video gave you some insight and some inspiration around the value of speaking up, why you should give your thought a voice, why you should dare to say things, and also maybe some ideas and some ways of how you can best do it if you're not very comfortable with it. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please subscribe for more. Forward it and send it to people who you feel might be interested in this and actually might benefit from this. Thank you very much for watching this. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Until the next blog post, all the best.